Hey, everybody, welcome back to Great Practice, Great Life. And today our episode features Ashley Waters. Ashley was on before talking about how she used the DISC profile to build a team. And today's Ashley's back talking to us about how she's using something simple, something so simple. It's a strategy that we've nicknamed helping your team, helping you grow, which is the power of employee reviews and feedback. So, Ashley, welcome back to the episodes. Or I should say, let me try that again. Ashley, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
Well, it's good to have you back. How is life treating you since we talked last?
It's great. So all things are good.
All things are good. So I asked you back because in our last episode, we talked about how you're using the DISC profile and how you and Lori were using it and you were learning through practice growth program, how all this stuff kind of intersected. One of the things that we started to talk about was how you grew so quickly. You've grown very quickly in a very rural community. And one of your secrets is this particular strategy. So, why do you think giving your employees, your team feedback helps you grow and helps you make money? How does this work in your world?
Well, I think that if you have expectations of people, you have to communicate those expectations to them. And it's better to address issues as they occur rather than letting them build and fester. It's better for both you and for the employee to address them as you go. So, mm, that, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Now, one of the things I failed to do actually was I didn't set up a good context. So, tell everybody where you're at and what you're doing as far as a practice goes, so they understand why this is so critical. It's not like you're in downtown Miami. Where is your practice and what do you do?
So I'm in rural Tennessee, and in a little town called Cookville. We are halfway between Nashville and Knoxville. And I have a small niche practice. We do estate planning and estate administration, basically. And my team, so I've been practicing for a little over 10 years and opened my own practice right at 5 years ago. Started out with 2 people, myself and my paralegal, just the 2 of us for a while. Both of us are named Ashley, by the way, so she ended up deciding to go by her middle name. She took one for the team, so it wouldn't be so confusing. But we started out with just 2 people, and then we've grown to a team of I've got 4 full-time employees, 2 part-time employees, and some seasonal, college students who come back and work when they're home from college. So we have grown rather quickly over the last 5 years, in this niche practice area in this rural town. When it was just myself and a support person, it was just, a daily communication. And we really didn't have a formal process of giving any kind of feedback. And then I probably did my first annual review with my employees right before I joined Atticus. I really struggled with that though, because I didn't really know how to format that. I didn't have any resources to, any forms for them to fill out or for me to fill out to help kind of guide the review. And with my disc assessment, I'm a really high D. So I tend to be really direct, sometimes brutally honest. And it's helpful for me to have something that's a little bit more structured so that I can really put more thought into how I'm going to approach a specific issue, um, with a particular employee. And so I really struggled with the review process for a long time until I joined Atticus. I joined Atticus a little over 2 years ago. I started doing private coaching with Lori Pulvermacher. And then about a year ago, I joined the PGP program, the Practice Growth Program. And so I'm doing some private coaching and also some group coaching. And Atticus has so many great resources. I didn't realize until Lori and I were discussing the reviews that Atticus has forms that for employee reviews and different types of employees, even. And so that was a real kind of a breaking point for, or not a breaking point, but that was a, a crucial point for me that transformed my review process and made it more formalized, having these forms I could use from Atticus. So we started implementing annual reviews with every employee. And then I realized that, thinking about the next review is however many months out, but I've got this specific issue that we need to address now. Well, maybe we don't need to be waiting a year to do a formal review. Maybe we need to be doing that more often. And so we started doing quarterly reviews with shorter, still formal, but a little less formal than an annual review with each of the employees. But then it got to the point where it was like I'm having reviews every other week with somebody new. So I've really leaned into this past year delegating some of the interim reviews to my office manager, kind of realizing I don't have to do all of that work myself. So I still do the annual reviews, and we use the Atticus forms for that. And then I have sort of delegated the shorter term reviews with my input, but it's not on my calendar. And so that's been really helpful to me because I do feel like it's important for the reviews to occur more frequently because like I said earlier, you're addressing issues as they come up instead of letting something fester. And the more proactively you can address something, then it's going to improve, hopefully, if all things go well more quickly, which then in turn, improves the business. It's less stressful, it's better for your clients, you're providing better services, whatever the issue is, you're addressing it more quickly. So it helps you from a profitability standpoint too.
What are the top 3 things that you would recommend to lawyers to focus on when implementing reviews for the first time?
Well, I think first of all, number one is how often are you going to have a formal review and who's going to do it? So I think, for us, we put those reviews on the calendar a year in advance. So we know when it's coming up. We have adequate time to prepare for it. And like I was saying earlier, I don't handle, I am the boss, but I don't handle all of the reviews that occur throughout the year. So I think being strategic about how often you're going to review, how formal that review is going to be, and who's going to be conducting the review, I think that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is probably making sure that there's a structure in place for the review, and I floundered with that for a while in the beginning until, I realized there are resources out there that can help me to put some structure to this review. What we do is we use that one of the Atticus forms, and I have the employee fill it out and I fill it out. And you basically are kind of ranking yourself, and then I'm ranking them, and then I pull their DISC assessment in to try to figure out how to address the issues I need to address with them specifically. And then we have that review. And so just having some structure to it, especially for me being a high D, I tend to be very abrupt. And so it's been really helpful for me to have a more productive review and actually be able to meet them where they're at and to be able to speak their language better. So putting some structure to it, I think would be the second thing. And I think, and this kind of goes along with the first, but not being afraid to delegate. I've leaned into that a lot this past year, but like I do the annual reviews, but then I don't always do the quarterly reviews. And we've even in started doing all of our employees are having just like a 20-minute weekly check-in with my office manager now. And that way we can make sure they have the resources they need, that they have the tools that they need, that they're being supported and address any issues literally as they come up rather than even waiting until the end of the quarter or the end of the year. But you're only one person and you can't manage, a team of 10 people potentially. I can't. I know that. And so not being afraid to delegate that because it's better for the employee to have that feedback even if it's not coming directly from you than to not get it at all. And so that was kind of revolutionary for me, or revelationary for me over the past year or so. So